Hi, okay. So, part 2 ni siya sa word problems involving kinematics in one dimension. So, we have 3 more examples here. And as usual, ang aton nga mga formulas ari lang Japon sa belong. So, we still have the 5. Medyo kin-rearrange ko siya in a way nga tanan nga VR sa babaw, tanan nga XR sa dala. But, yeah, you get the point. Let's move forward. So, the first problem is what is the magnitude of the average acceleration of a skier who, starting from rest, reaches a speed of 8 meters per second when going down a slope for 5 seconds. And how far does the skier travel in this time? So, like we always say, it's a good habit to write down the given. So, ang ginapangita dire, so what is the magnitude of the average acceleration? So, question mark tang A. And then, starting from rest, which means ang aton sini nga x initial is 0 meters. And for sure, ang iya sini nga initial velocity is 0 meters per second kay wala pa sa kagiho. And then it reaches a speed of BF na siya, 8 meters per second when going down a slope for time na 5 seconds. So ang A ang ginapangita, actually ang T butang today. So T is 5 seconds. And then how far does the skier travel? So ina siya ang ginapangita is XF. So duang pangitaon ta A kag XF or acceleration and final nga displacement. Okay. Out of our 5 na mga formulas dire, kung unahon ta solve si A, ang magamit naton before sure is, let's see here, ini, ang first naton nga formula. So, islang talang ni color. Kay with the first formula, we have VF, may value kita sa VF, kabalo man kita sa VI, kabalo man kita sa T. So, ang A ang nabilin. Okay? So, for that, VF equals VI plus AT. So, 8 meters per second ang VF tang. VI ties, 0 na lang. So, actually, hindi ko na napag-isulat AT, so A, unknown na siya, and T is 5 seconds. Now, to know A, i-divide ta siya kay 5 seconds. Cancel. And A is now 8 over 5 meters per second squared or 1.6 meters per second squared. Okay. So, amo na siya guys, dapat ang habit ta ha. So, looking at your given, A ang ginapangita, i-check nyo kada isa. So, like I said earlier, ang first nga formula good kay may VF, may VI, kag may T, kag A ang ginapangita. Now, ilang taon ta lang, ang second biabi nga formula, may A tuod. Galing, wala ta kabalos ng XF. Ay, diba? Isa sa mga ginapangita. So, okay, hindi siya magamit. How about the average? Wala da A, so don't use it. How about this fourth equation? So, wala man kita XF. Amo na siya. So, you have to look at all the formulas and, justify na mo na siyang gamitin nyo based on your given. Okay. Now, we have your new value nga si acceleration. Masolve kita sang atong nga XF. So, for XF, meron kita duha ka pililian listalo mo. Okay? I think ang pilion ko para kay XF inyo Kay, ari na nga daan si XF, so hindi na kita mag-transpose, no? So, XF equals XI plus VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. Miss, pwede man rin naman magamit, Pwede man, galing kay amo na, may transposition pa nga matabo. Meanwhile, this other formula, wala na. So, medyo, kumbaga, mas safe ka mo magamit sini. Kay base pa lang yan sa pag-transpose nyo, da ka mo malang-alang, di ba? Okay. So, muna siya. Now, ang ating nga XI is 0, based sa atong given. Ang VI natin is also 0. So, whether may time man kita diri nga ibutang, substitute, 0 man ni Japon. So, with that, ang aton nga i-substitute na lang is A, which is 1.6 meters per second squared. Ang time naton nga 5 seconds, i-square ni siya. Kung amo, cancel out na ni ang seconds ta. Okay. And now, we are left with 525 by 2. Okay. That is 20 meters. Okay. So, ang ato nga XF or final nga destination, final nga displacement sa ato nga skier after 5 seconds is 20 meters. Okay? So, next example So, for this example, actually, and the next example karon, pahuway ta danay sa mga formulas naton. So, ginukas ko di sila danay, no? And this will involve a bit of calculus. So, as you can see, a car travels a road with instantaneous velocity described by an equation. V equals 3t squared minus 2t meters per second, where t is time in seconds. And may given kita diri nga time which is 4 seconds. So, ang ginapamangkot is A, displacement, that is symbol X, and B, acceleration, so ang symbol natin is A. Now, as for the application of calculus, remember guys that ang aton nga velocity is the displacement over time. But actually, we make use of X instead of B, no? Okay. The problem is, if masugata nyo ang inyong particle, ga-travel siya, of course, Japan sa horizontal nga motion, pero medyo may curve ga katabo. Like, liko-liko nga dalan, from Bacolod to Kabangkalan, I don't know, stuff like that. So, example naton, as you can see, mayroon ka mo sang t-squared dira, so there is a curve going on there. With that, you're going to use calculus, and instead of a simple displacement over time, that becomes change in displacement over change in time. So, familiar ni sa notation sa inyo, dx over dt, no? And from the equation man sa acceleration nyo, which is the change in velocity over change in time, you also get this notation. Here though, for letter A, ang ginapamangkot, displacement. So, what do you do to get the equation from displacement pabalik sa velocity if ang original nyo na-derive na nga daan? So, but silingon sila guys, ang inyong displacement is the integral of velocity. Okay. So, just like any integral, it will be x final, x initial sa dalom, no? X final minus x initial. Okay. And then, ang matabo sini, instead of 3t squared minus 2t, i-integrate na siya. Ang makuha ta is 3t cubed over 3 minus 2t squared over 2. So, cancelled out ni siya. And I know that there is a plus c right here, but let's disregard that for a moment. And now you have t cubed minus t squared. The son, x final over x initial. Oh, hindi na di x, hindi na di x. Time na di. Time initial, time final. Kaya ang aton nga, it's the denominator is t, so it's the variable that we need. Now, that will be ang initial naton since wala man na mention 0, and ang final naton is 4. So, kung let's say, given the senior from time 2 seconds to 4 seconds, naman bala. So, kabalo na kamo sang inyo nga i-plus star 2 na di, kag force babaw. But since wala man na mo node, then let's assume that it's 0 lang. Now, what this does is, substitute nyo lang si 4 sa t naton. So, ang aton sini nga x is equal to 4 cube minus 4 squared. And 4 cube. That is 64 minus 16. And that gives us 48 meters. So, kung given ka mo sa equation nga do parametric equation nga tawag, calculus na sa ang gina-involve sina. Okay? So, from velocity to displacement, ma-integrate ka mo. From displacement to velocity, ma-derive ka mo. Okay? Like, for acceleration. So, ang ato niya nga nabalaan nga equation is velocity. So, ang guwasin na, i-derive ta na ang ina nga equation para makuha ta ang equation ni acceleration. So, ang derivative sina is 6t minus 2. Di ba la? So, 6t minus 2. So, substitute nyo lang si t sa 4. So, matabo, a is equal to 6 times 4 minus 2. Okay. Which is 24 minus 2. Or 22, and then plug in nyo lang ang inyong unit meters per second squared. Yep. And yeah, that's one example of a problem using calculus. Let's try another one. This looks somewhat like the previous example, no? Kaya may naman taliwat equation. Kita nyo di siya, oh. So, mang-derive integrate naman kita sin, eh. So, the speed of a bullet as it travels down the barrel of a rifle towards the opening is given by V equals negative 5 times 10 raised to 7 t squared plus 3 times 10 raised to 5 t, where V is meters per second, and of course, T naton is in seconds. The acceleration of the bullet, just as it leaves the barrel, is 0. So, ang A naton, butang ko di along the barrel is equal to 0 meters per second squared. Okay. So, letter A, determine the acceleration and position of the bullet as functions of time. So, wala kita diri sang substitution pa nga matabo, kundi to get the acceleration, i-derive naton si V. So, this becomes 2 times negative 5 times 10 to the 7 t plus, t lang man siya, wala kita sa exponent diri. So, that's 3 times 10 to the 5th meters per second. Simplifying this becomes negative 10 times 10 to the 7th t plus 3 times 10 to the 5th meters per second. So, this is the answer for letter, for acceleration lang. Ang x natin pagali. So, position, mang-integrate kita. So, the integral of this whole equation is negative 5 times 10 to the 7 t cube over 3 plus 3 times 10 to the 5th t squared over 2. So, meters per, meters lang. So, it's up to you if you want to divide this right away. The problem is 5/3 is not exactly a pretty number kaya may decimal siya. So, goods na as is na lang isa. So, as is na siya danay. Kay, gamiton naman na siya sa letter B. So, ang ating nga letter B, determine the time interval over which the bullet is accelerated. So, ang pamangkot, ano ang time naton antes ang aton nga bullet na accelerate. So, ina siya, kabalo kita nga natabo lang ang acceleration niya, sang nakagwa na siya sa barrel. Kay within the barrel, just as it leaves the barrel, 0 lang siya danay. Okay? So, matabo sina, using this new equation nga nakuha naton, islan pa lang niya aton A, 0. So, A is equal to 0. Therefore, 0 equals negative 10 times 10 raised to 7t plus 3 times 10 to the 5th, okay, meters per second kita. So, transpose na ni guys ang negative. That becomes positive 10 times 10 raised to 7t plus 3 times 10, equals 3 times 10 raised to the 5 meters per second. Divide sa 10 times 10 raised to 7 sa 10 times 10 raised to 7 and square natin ha. Okay. And now our time is 3 milliseconds. Okay. So for letter B, the answer is 3 milliseconds. Paki-check niyo na lang sa calculators niyo. Magic. Nagamay na siya gulpe. Okay. Yes, we are solving for letter C. Find the speed at which the bullet leaves the barrel. So we already have our equation for speed, letter V. Negative 5 times 10 to the 7. Kagang time naton, amo to na-solve natin kagina. So, ang time nga travel ang bullet sa sulod sa barrel is just 3 milliseconds. And 3 milliseconds is 3 times 10 raised to negative 3. Okay. And I think that's squared. Okay. Plus 3 times 10 to the 5th times 3 milliseconds. Liwat? So 3 times 10 raised to negative 3. This is meters per second. Okay? And kung i-substitute nyo na sa tanan-tanan, supposedly makakuha ka mo 450 meters per second. So that's for letter C. And finally, letter D, what is the length of the barrel? So you are going to use the formula nga nakuha naton for displacement. X equals negative 5 times 10 to the 7 over 3. So ang T nga gamiton nyo, ang time jump nga nasolve ta nga 3 times 10 to the negative 3, 4 milliseconds na siya. So cube plus 3 times 10 to the 5th over 2 times 3 times 10 to the negative 3 cube. Hindi na siya cube. Alright, squared. So, dapat, ang makuha natin is 0.9 meters. So, base, nalipat ka mo kung diin ko nigil pangwa. So, ang aton nga V, halin ni siya sa original na given, na V. Ang aton nga X, ginkuha na siya sa nasolve naton from part A. Katong ginanamangkot sila, acceleration, kag position. So, this is where I got the formula for X, ang length ng barrel naton. And the formula that we used for letter B was the formula nga nakuha naton sa part A man. Siya. Pero ang A gin islan ko lang 0 because according gani sa problem, ang acceleration sa aton nga bullet is 0. So, yep, those are the answers for A, B, C, and D of this problem.